Working here.
No fade. What's going on, everyone? It's opening day for the MLB, but you already know that we don't give a puck over here. It's Puck You back this Thursday, March the 28th. Why Lose Sports NHL wagering show. I'm Mike Burns, joined by our NHL handicapper, Les Victory. A little bit of a slow night in the NHL. Only had 2 games scheduled, but they're making up for it tonight with 4 games on this sled. We're going to be breaking down the biggest 3 for you. Les, how you doing today, brother?
There's 14 games on the slate, not 4. You just said 4.
Did not.
You did. I swear. Play it back. Stop. Cancel it. I'm just kidding. Doesn't matter. Yeah, we got 14 games here, Burnsy.
Big day, baby.
Everybody's playing tonight. It's crazy. Big night. We put a 4-0 guarantee on tonight's card. So if it doesn't hit, you get the season for free. $99 week pass gets you in on that action. And you get all the games from now right up until the Devils do not hoist the cup.
I don't know about that, man. My boys are hot right now.
Yeah, you're right. After the effort Buffalo put in last night, if your boys don't win tomorrow night, then I don't know what to tell you. This shit is rigged. Something is going on in the world.
Yeah, the wheels definitely fell off of that wagon for sure. Big slaughter in Buffalo last night. We had some names hit the score sheet like we were talking about. We had Tkachuk, Batherson on the board, missed out on Giroux, had a couple bucks on him. Also, it was only 2 games, right? So Tampa gets taken down. No, Tampa takes down the Bees. Can you believe that? So I put a parlay yesterday. Put a parlay together yesterday with Zacha and Pasta anytime points, and Pasta's the one that missed. Who would have thought Zacha would? I mean, I was definitely looking at Zacha as the riskier one on that. No Pasta for me. Boo hoo.
He had his chances. He had a couple good looks. He definitely could have gone on the score sheet, but you could definitely see a little bit of frustration with him too last night. So I don't know. He's just gripping the stick a little too tight. He's flirting with that. Isn't he getting up close to a milestone right now?
He just passed 100 the other day.
Yeah, or he did. Yeah, that's right. He did get it. So, maybe that's, he's a goal scorer. He's going to get back on the board. It's just a matter of knowing when to pick him. The Duclair bet didn't work for us last night, and I
missed a wide open net.
Almost certain that was going to cash. He's been arguably one of the best players for the Tampa Bay team. And of course, sometimes it happens where you believe in it, you put money on it, and then they just don't perform. And that's what happened with Duclair last night. Tough one for that, but not a big deal. We did hit a lot of our free bets to make up for it.
And we got a whole bunch of them coming over for you right now. First game that we're going to take a look at, the Rangers in Colorado. Rangers are road dogs here at plus 125, Colorado minus 150, over under at 6.5. The under in the last 10 meetings has cashed 7 times between these two. All right, so New York, first team to clinch a playoff spot, cracking the 100-point mark. They've been 8-2 over the last 10, with the over hitting 7 times. The offense has been clicking for NYR. They're going to try and make it 4 in a row here. They're putting up an average of 3.9 goals per game, 31 shots, 32% on the power play. That's been humming. And who else has been humming? Panarin is having a career year right now. 8 goals, 8 assists in the last 10. And then they got the Shesty between the pipes. What do you like about what's going on in New York?
We've seen teams go on these pretty long win streaks all year. And, it's never the game that you expect to snap a long win streak. Like, I don't know, Montreal coming into Colorado and upsetting them on the road in a low-scoring 2-1 affair. Kind of a weird spot for Colorado to lose at home to a Montreal team, especially when they've only lost 7 games at home to begin with, right? So I can kind of, at plus 120, I don't see how you wouldn't take the Rangers here, just because of what they've done recently, no discredit to Colorado. They've been red hot, but just because that long win streak has finally been snapped, maybe this is a turning point for Colorado. I mean, New York is no walk in the park. Like they are a great team statistically in the standings. So with that being said, it's tough to say. Both these teams have been excellent in the last 10. Colorado's penalty kill has been unbelievable. So that's gonna be one thing that's gonna affect the Rangers, because they do depend on that power play, and it's a work in progress. We haven't seen any real, long streaks of amazing power play options for New York this season. So it could very well be just a good 5-on-5 game. The one thing to note is when these two teams meet, they go into overtime over half the time. So if you want a long shot, go ahead and check yes to overtime tonight, because this could be a Stanley Cup Finals matchup. Could be. I don't know if it will be.
As a Devils fan, I certainly hope not. Last 3 meetings between these guys all needed extra time. 2 of them as a shootout. You were talking about Colorado, man. I mean, up until Montreal, they're 9-1 in their last 10. That was an ugly one there. They're averaging 4.3 goals per game, 39 shots, averaging 39 shots per game, and 28% on the power play. Their number one's going to get the start here. Georgiev, he's 8-2, 8-2. 238 and a 918 here. You talked about the Avs penalty kill, man. I mean, they've let in 1 power play goal in the last 25 opportunities, 96%. But both of these guys are going to be playing a little bit without some key members here, right? So Trouba is not back yet for the Rangers. Lindgren is going to still be out of this game. Those are 2 top Ds for them. And they're also saying that Val Nichushkin on Colorado may not get the go tonight. I think that was a lower body. It may just be a cautionary thing, but he's probably not going to be playing. And then we got the Nate Dogg with his 25-game point streak. He kept it up. He was the only one to score against Montreal in last game. So if you want to do that little Nate Dogg 3-way parlay, I mean, without the Rangers having 2 of their bigger defensemen there, I mean, can they slow down Nate coming in there?
Do you just copy and paste that segment out of every time
it's automatic this year, man. It happens every single time. Death, taxes, Nate Dogg 3-way parlay.
Oh, that's awesome. And you know what? It's going to be a tough, even a harder spot for New York, because they don't have a ton to play for, right? Like there's not a lot actually of meaning on this game outside of the fact of, nobody likes to lose, and you're really gearing up for the playoffs. But these are 2 teams that are obviously in the playoffs. They're not going to want to take risks to get hurt. I don't see this being a lot of body checks in this game. You're not going to be running people. I just don't see a real value in any of these teams really doing that. Obviously, Colorado's still trying to catch Dallas, and Carolina's nipping at the heels of New York, but they have a game at hand, and they're up a few points. So I could see New York, clinching the Met. So you kind of want to think that, is New York going to put themselves in the back seat in this game just because of where they are in the standings, and they don't want to expose yourself to risk? Like, how do you do this as a coaching staff? Like, at what point do you decide, all right, guys, don't do anything stupid. Okay. Don't block shots right now.
That's like asking a guy not to be a hockey player.
I know that, but when you think about what's at stake here, you're going to go in the playoffs. Imagine game 81, Panarin gets a shot in the foot and breaks his foot. I get that's the way the game goes, but as a coaching staff, it's like, you know what? We need to play the smartest, conservative, safest hockey we can play.
I want a 6-4 game here, bud, and playing safe and conservative is not going to happen.
Well, that's what I'm asking. At what point does your team, does the coaching staff, kind of implement that? Do you start, 2-3 games left, do you start scratching your big boys so that they can get the rest and, limit injury risk? At what point, when would you, if you're the head coach of the New York Rangers, at what point do you maybe put Quick in for a couple more games, or limit ice time for the top 6 guys.
Well, I mean, listen, it's not, you say New York's playing for really nothing. They're really not, though. I mean, Boston's only 1 point behind them, for the top seed, right? New York's got a great home record playing at MSG. I mean, if you think Dolan is going to sit there and tell them, hey, guys, don't do your best effort so we don't get more home games for MSG playoff style, I mean, I think that's a little crazy. I think the Rangers are going to come in and they are going to I think they're going to want to prove themselves. They heard what I said last podcast, how I said they're not upper tier, how they're in that second echelon of shit. And they're going to come in here and they're going to try and stuck it right up my hoop.
But then they realize you're a Devils fan. They're like, oh, well, that's why. No wonder this guy doesn't know a fucking thing.
I don't know. It's going to be a tough test walking into what is it, the Pepsi Center or whatever it's called these days. But I mean, Avs have that great home record. My left ball arena.
Terrible name.
A great home record. It's going to be a tough task here. I don't think the Rangers are going to go lightly here. I think they're going to come for it, but I do think that the Avs are going to hold them off with an 8-dog 3-way parlay. Double down on
Obviously.
Death and taxes. All right. Now let's talk about the Kings taking a trip into Edmonton to take on McJesus and the crew. Kings are plus 125. Edmonton minus 150. Over under at 6 over here on the nose. Kings are winners of 4 in a row. They've been 10-3 since the end, 10-3-1 since the end of February, and they're just 3 points behind Edmonton here. They have been flying high. They had a big W against Vancouver the other day, but they really haven't been, I would say, overwhelmingly dominant in all of these victories that they've had. Now they've been held to 8 or fewer high danger scoring chances in 4 of their last 5 games. And I mean, when I look at these guys, I really just see defense. What do you see?
That's literally their entire, I don't even know if they talk about, do they practice power play on in practice, or do they just, do D zone coverage and clog it up the neutral zone? Because they are so fucking good at it that it's really hard to get a step on these guys. Like, I don't watch a ton of LA games because obviously the time difference, but when I do watch them, they're painfully boring most of the time because it's so tight. There's not a lot of opening up. There's not up and down and up and, they're just, that's not this kind of game that they play. And they've had a lot of success for it. Just remember a little while ago, they went on their 16 game skid and you wrote them off completely. You said they're done. Now look at what they've done. They put that behind them. Nobody's talked about that since. And, this is a big test for LA because this could be a first round matchup.
Yeah, like I said, only 3 points behind, Edmonton here. They've held opponents to 2.1 goals against. And as little opportunities that they have in high danger scoring, they offer even less. In all but 1 of their last 5 games, they've held opponents to 7 or fewer high danger chances. So they really know how to clog it up.
We're going to see, because Edmonton is no cheap suit to be on the offense here. So let's just see how good of an LA defense is when you're going up against McJesus, Hyman, Draisaitl, all those big boys.
Well, I mean, it's not like Edmonton is really playing their best hockey here. I mean, they have stumbled a little bit. They've caught in some L's along the way. They're 6-3-2, right? They got some bad L's too. They lost to Columbus, Buffalo, Ottawa. I mean, they've allowed an average of 3 goals per game. I don't know. I mean, it seems like analytically wise, you take a look at it, seems like they're getting their mojo going a little bit. They've been better defensively. And I mean, look, we all know about McDavid, Draisaitl, and Hyman, right? But who else is out there? Is there anybody else out there trying to put the puck in the net for Edmonton?
And no, the answer is no right now. And that's something that needs to be addressed in Edmonton, because once you get into the playoffs, you need depth. You need goal scoring throughout the lineup. And Edmonton has shown signs throughout the season that they can do that. They can provide that. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what's going on with Evander Kane. And he got scratched the other night. You didn't look too pleased about it.
Yeah, he was real happy about that.
And even Patrick was scratched. What was it? God, I can't remember his name. But it seems to be a trending thing what has Torts done to the head coaches in the NHL? Everybody wants to be like Torts and get a little bit of the spotlight of scratching big players. So you got to think that Kane's always been decent in the playoffs. He's a guy that shows up in the playoffs. He kind of he's like he tries to take up that Kadri role that he played in Colorado, right? So it's kind of an interesting spot because Edmonton has been really good at home, and as it stands right now, Edmonton would have home ice. So this very well could be a game we see again in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is going to be a bit of a slugfest for sure. Unconfirmed, Cam Talbot is likely to get the start in LA. Stuart Skinner over in Edmonton. I mean, I don't really know how much I put a ton of faith in a guy like Stu Skin. But I mean, listen, like you said, when it gets down to playoff time, you need to have some depth coming out through the lineup. Not to say that it's an easy task to shut down McDavid, or Hyman's 41 goals from the crease. But if there is a team of the anti-Oilers, maybe it is a team like LA.
Hey man, shooters are going to shoot. Okay. What do you think his rating would be on NHL 24? It's not going to be an SNP sniper. What is it? What's it going to be?
He's just got that mixer rating, that crease crasher.
Yeah, the only guy that scores 50 goals that's going to be a power forward in NHL 25 next year. Now, the one thing that does stick out to me on this game is the over, because I understand LA's got one of the best defensive teams in the league, but the main reason why Edmonton has kind of slipped up the past couple games is because of goaltending. They're not giving up a lot of shots, but the shots that are they're getting are going in. And I'm not putting that all on the goaltending. I think it's just the defense altogether. Because you look at the Edmonton's last few games, they're still scoring 4-3-3, 8-3. They're still averaging well over 3 goals a game. So I like to see that continue. And even Los Angeles has been finding the back of the net, probably the most that they have all year. They're averaging over 4.5 goals a game in their last 4 or 5. So this could be a high scoring affair unless Stuart Skinner gets his shit figured out and gets right back to where he was a month ago.
All right, last game that we got on the schedule here for you. We're going to take a look at Dallas going into Vancouver. All right, this is a straight up pick 'em game here. Over under set at 6 on the nose. Vancouver has actually owned Dallas over the last few years, 7-3, with 7 of those wins coming in a row. And a lot of those games weren't even close, completely blown out. Dallas did manage to win the last meeting. It was a 4-3 overtime victory. All right, so Dallas, I mean, this team is pretty much just cruising along right now, man. They're 8-2 in their last 10. They're riding a 5-game win streak. Last loss was to my Devils. No big deal. But they're coming in with a great road record here, 23-9-5. They're averaging 4.5 goals per game, 34 shots on goal, a 29% power play. I mean, they're scoring at least 4 goals in 5. Scoring at least 4 goals in the last 5, 23 in total. So, I mean, I definitely got my eye out there on Jason Robertson, who scored 2 goals the last time that these guys met. He's got 5 goals, 9 assists over the last 10. And then he's got the old man over there on the power play with him, Jamie Benn. What kind of sick month has he had, man? He's got 17 points in 11 games.
Quietly. He's done it quietly. Yeah. And this is another big game because these are 2 teams. You got to think that the Stanley Cup winners got to come out of the West this year, right? And you look at how much better the West is compared to the East. Your Devils aren't getting it, so forget it. You're looking at, well, the Devils could win. No, they're not fucking getting it, Burnsy. It's over.
Just gotta get hot.
Let it go. But you look at these 2 teams, and same thing. These teams almost have identical records. As far from a pick'em spot, I don't really have an opinion on taking one over the other because they're just too tight of teams. But one thing that does stick out a little bit is that Vancouver has cashed the under 8 out of their last 10.
Mm-hmm.
and it's in Vancouver, and a lot of those games have been at home. So if I got to stretch on something, I would be stretching on the under on this one. I might even buy it up to 7 just because the over is actually the favorite here. So you might be getting a better value at the 7. But just with Vancouver being on this long homestand and really cashing the under almost every single night, I can definitely see this maybe being a low scoring game, Burnsy.
I mean, listen, Vancouver's got a great home record. They're 24-8-4. Their offense has struggled a little bit. They're only averaging 2.9 goals per game, 28 shots, and only 15% on that power play. But for me, if you're looking at who's going to win this game, right? For me, this becomes something, about coming in between the pipes, right? Ottinger has not had a great year, not at all, but he's looked really good in the last couple games. So he may be finding his rhythm here, and then if you look across the ice, I mean, listen, Demko's on the shelf. Vancouver's got to push all their chips in on Casey DeSmith here. And it's got me wondering, maybe that's why Vancouver's offense has kind of dried up a little bit here. Maybe they're becoming a little bit more defensive minded. I mean, they've limited their last 5 opponents to 24 shots on goal or fewer. So maybe Talk's got him moving in a little bit of a different direction, all right, let Pettersson and Besser and Miller get out there. You guys, we just need 2. We just need 3. We don't need anything crazy. We'll hold down the fort over here.
I think you nailed the nail on the head there, Burnsy, about Jake Ottinger and how ungreat he has been. He has not been his usual self. You look at the last couple seasons and he's posted a 2.37, a 2.53, and a 2.36 goals against average. This year he's just under 3 over the course of the season. That's a big jump. That's a big jump compared to where he was last year. And watching him play a couple of the games, I just don't feel like he feels himself. I mean, in those last 10, he's only got a 0.87 save percentage. And if he doesn't get this figured out, Dallas is going to be looking for the exit in the playoffs right quick.
Well, I mean, you can't rely on Scott Wedgwood.
No.
I mean, Wedgie's been okay as a backup, but you can't walk into the playoffs with Scott Wedgwood between your pipes and expect to go deep.
No, you can't. And the thing with DeSmith is he's actually done a good job to pick up the slack from Thatcher Demko. He's won, 3 out of 5. I think he's around 500 hockey from a win-loss record, but his save percentage has been pretty good. So you gotta give him some credit for stepping up into this role to keep Vancouver at the top of their division. And they've had a lot of that success at home tonight. So if I have to give an edge at minus 105, or I think it's minus 105, I do like Vancouver at home just because of the goaltending matchup. I feel like it's a little bit mismatched, and I think Ottinger might be varying the end of this great succession. I mean, if Ottinger was on Chicago, or a shittier team that couldn't score goals like Dallas can, it would be even worse for them because Dallas is a really good team. So often that overshadows the truth behind what the goalie's really doing, right? You got a great team in front of you. It's like, okay, but what about the goaltending? Goaltending hasn't been that great, but somehow they're still the top of their division. So he's obviously doing something right, but the numbers don't lie, Birdsey, and they're just not that impressive.
I don't know if it was last season or the season before where he actually just put on a show in the playoffs and really just, willed that team further and further and further. I don't know. We'll see what Jake has up his sleeve, what he's got in his bag. I mean, the guy's only 25 years old. You know what I mean? So we can't label as, Ottinger the bust, no. But, he has struggled, man. We'll see if he can get it together here. All right, guys, that's going to do us for today. This is going to be the last show of the week. We're not going to be able to record tomorrow. So make sure you guys watch this twice. Smash that like button. Share it along. Get over there. We got a 4-0 guarantee on the picks for tonight, right? For that $99 week pass. Canadian Bacon's looking good, right? Get on. Keep an eye on us on Telegram. YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. Say goodnight to the guys, Les.
Yeah, no. One last thing is we posted the ladder already on Instagram. This will be the last ladder of probably the year. We got
because we're gonna hit it.
Yeah. Playoffs are just around the corner. The final stretch is here. I want to make sure I'm laser focused on the big games that are going to be playing. So it's just a lot going on with that. So this will be the last one, but we're gonna keep on pushing it. This one, we cashed it last night. I like the one today. It should hit with Florida and Carolina taking care of business at home. We'll see.
All right, guys, y'all take care of yourselves. We'll see you back tomorrow. Stay well. Enjoy the lots of hockey tonight.